I know that you're a vocal critic of President Trump. However, people have said that he was correct about the border and China.
Well, that depends on which metric.
How dare you interrupt me? I do not play!
In case you missed it on Saturday night, I was on the Barry Gibb talk show on Saturday Night Live on NBC. But Barry didn't give me an opportunity to finish what I was going to say because he asked me if Trump was right about the border. I started to say depending on which metrics you use, and I'm going to finish what I was going to say because I don't have a Gibb brother interrupting me with song and dance, which confessedly was really effing cool. But I digress. Let's get back to my answer, okay? Depending on which metrics you use, for instance, if you were to use data from the Cato Institute, you would see that migrants were in fact more likely to be released by Trump than Biden. According to that data, the Biden Department of Homeland Security is removing 3.5 times as many people per month as the Trump DHS did. And there's another metric that is worth considering when it comes to whether or not Trump was right about the border. And I don't really specifically know what Barry was going to ask, but we're going to go with it. I think it's important that we remember that under Trump, at least 3,900 children were separated from their parents in the span of a few years. The child separation policy was thought of at the time by its architect, Stephen Miller, to be a deterrent to would-be migrants. What it was inhumane, unjust, cruel, and sadistic. President Biden reversed that child separation policy. And some families, most families, but not all, have been reunited with their parents. But the Biden administration also moved to stop the process of holding families in immigration and customs detention. Another metric, MAGA loves to say that Biden's border is wide open, and that's simply not true. Yes, there are a lot of people coming to our southern border right now for a variety of reasons, not least of which is deteriorating conditions in Latin America that were created by the Trump administration cutting off legal pathways to citizenship, leaving those would-be migrants with fewer lawful methods of entering the country. And they were doing that while they were taking funding from our military for his dumbass vanity wall. And since we're on the subject of dumbasses, it's also worth pointing out the metrics that President Biden signed a government funding package which increased the border budget by 17%, more than the year before. He also added $65 million for 300 new border agents and $60 million for 125 new personnel at points of entry and $230 million for technology like surveillance towers. And guess what? Republicans voted against it. How's that for a metric? President Biden is not the first president to face a growing number of migrants at our border with Mexico, and he won't be the last. Fluctuations in migration are common, regardless of which party is in power, as evidenced by the 2019 border crisis under then President Trump. President Biden and the Democrats in Congress are trying to address the issue. There's a bipartisan bill working in the Senate right now, but Donald Trump has instructed his lackeys and lickspittles to stop it because he doesn't want them to do anything about what he needs to fearmonger on related to the crisis at the border. So to answer Barry Gibb's question, no, I don't think Donald Trump was right about the border. And the only metrics that conclusion depends upon are called facts. And now we dance.